Bubba Radio Network will return after this.
Let's talk to Josh. What's up, Josh? How are you, bud?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Now, on this particular show, we're uncensored, so we can talk like men. Like, we can say bad words and stuff.
Okay.
The other one, we were on regular radio, so I couldn't say, like, what's up, Josh? How the fuck things going? Like, I couldn't say that there, but I can say that here.
Oh, okay.
Talk like men. So, like, what has transpired, Josh, since I've spoke to you last? I think I spoke to you about a week and a half ago. And
yeah.
Did you have a decent response on the GoFundMe deal? Or did you hit? You got to be over 15 now.
Yeah. I hit 15 not too long after I talked to you guys last week, and it hit 15, and I took all my posts down off social media because there's so many people just giving me grief about raising money.
What do you mean? Like, that's when you tell them to fucking pack sand, buddy. You're like, listen, fucking pack sand, and you guys didn't have to go through this shit like I did, and, fuck off. I'm going to put another one up for another 15, and if I can get 30, then I'm double fucking taken care of. That's what the fuck you say.
Yeah. But, I'm doing cameos now. I'm part of the Cameo app, where you can get customized messages from notable people, and that's been making me some pretty good money. But
pretty good. I mean, like you do a couple $100 a day.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's good as fuck, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good enough for the rent. Like, my problem is like I actually went to the doctor on Friday. Like, all this stress and stuff caused me to have an ulcer, and those
are horrible.
Yeah, so I have to be gone from work and everything. So this Cameo app is a godsend, really. It's really convenient.
Now, what's the average person just like want you to say like hi or happy birthday and like can you get? And Josh, I'm not trying to get a free one on you, but can you give me an example like how it goes? Like you just say Joe Blow. That way I'm not trying to get a free one on you.
Yeah, you just say, hey, this is Joshua Dial from the Netflix series Tiger King. Just want to give a shout out to Joe Blow. Happy birthday and fuck the feds.
There you go.
That's about it. That's about it.
Man, did you hear, man? Fucking Jimmy got a Joshua Dial deal. That's our favorite guy. Now, Josh, have you got any? I don't know if you're married or you're involved in a relationship or you like men or women. I don't know, and I'm not judging what your deal is. But have you got any interest from people trying to get crazy with you?
Oh, yeah. I have, but I am engaged. And I am gay. No, I didn't screw around with Joe.
Yeah.
But I have had tons of people come after me.
Now,
how long have you been with the guy that you're engaged to?
Yeah.
Almost a year.
Okay.
Now, can I ask now? Has he kind of gotten flipped out with your newfound fame? Because, let's just be honest, 6 to 8 weeks ago, you weren't, people didn't know who Joshua Dial was until this thing hit. Now Joshua Dial is the fucking man. And does that make your fiance feel a little bit freaked out? And he's like, fuck, my man's kind of popular now.
Yeah, we really don't know what to do with the newfound fame. I mean, we weren't expecting it, so we still don't really know what to think of it. It's an interesting opportunity for sure.
Now, the Netflix series doesn't talk about your sexuality, and by the way, I have no problem with it. I'm not gay, but I've been huge on gay rights and an advocate of being equal and things like that. I think it would have added to the story a little bit had they talked about the fact that you are gay and you didn't sleep with Joe Exotic.
Yeah, we talked about it, but they have so much interview footage just of me alone that they never even used in the series.
Stuff that you think you talked about when we had you on a couple weeks ago about how you had to watch
stuff.
Get her arm shoot off from the tiger as a punishment for not helping Travis, and they had that footage. I don't know what that would have been huge. I think.
Yeah, it's. I just don't really know what to say on that one.
Do you think that they could go back and do a whole nother series on the five things or the 10 things that you didn't know about Tiger King? First, you thought you knew Tiger King, and now here's 5 more things that we've unearthed from the documentary. I think they could almost go back and do that.
Yeah, I know. I kind of have a feeling they're waiting for someone like Doc Antle or Jeff Lowe or God forbid, someone like Carol Baskin get executed or arrested. I think
that you said. I think that when we had you on a couple weeks ago, Josh, you said that you thought Doc Antle would be the next one to maybe get arrested.
Yeah, I mean, he's got there's open federal investigations surrounding like a lot of the people in Tiger King, and the FBI themselves admitted that. They released a statement saying as much, but it didn't say who. I don't know. I think Doc Antel's got the biggest target on his back besides Jeff Lowe. What I find fucking insane though is scrolling through social media and seeing all these people with free Joe Exotic tattoos.
Yeah, listen, nothing screams I'm dumb as fuck as getting a job. I mean, I hope you don't get mad at me for saying that, but why the fuck would you want to tattoo that guy to your name, to your body?
That's exactly my point. I mean, I knew this guy, okay? He got set up. It was a classic, I'm taking your shit, we're going to set you up with the government, and I get your shit when you go to jail. It was the classic fucking setup. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make Joe a good person.
Right.
I mean, so you're saying as much of a scumbag that Jeff Lowe is, and how he set fucking Joe Exotic up, and everybody's feeling sorry for Joe Exotic, doesn't take the way that you worked for Joe Exotic for I don't know how many long years, and you saw firsthand that this guy's a fucking scumbag.
He is. He's an asshole too, and he was so mean to us. But he was also sick. Like, he'd come into the office all the time and be like, well, Josh, I'm going to retire, move to a private island and start a pedophile ring. That's what he would say all the time.
So do you think, now, Josh, do you think a guy that kids about that, that's not a kidding deal. Like, that's not a, trying to make a joke kind of deal. Like, want to talk about fucking kids. Like, we can joke about being gay and white and black and fucking fat and skinny and all that kind of shit. We can whatever, but you don't joke about that.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what to think about it because I've never heard anyone just say something like that. I mean, who the fuck has, Now,
do you think that he, in your opinion, do you think that he may have done that?
I don't know. I know that there was a time I was out on tour with him. They do 2 tours a day at the zoo, and I was taking pictures for him, and he kind of come up to me and whispered in my ear. He said, "Hey, check out this dude coming up. He's got a really big dick." And I was just like, "Whatever, Joe." And I looked, and I was like, "I don't see anybody." And he was like, "It's that kid right there." And he was pointing to like a 12-year-old kid.
So here you are being a fellow gay man, and when he says, "Check out that dude," you're looking for, okay, where's the adult? Because I'm supposed to be looking at this guy's dick, and so you're looking for an adult. And Joe is talking about a kid, and that was spoken to you.
Yes, that's something, and it's something I don't, you don't really get a venue to talk about, explicit stuff like this very often. So, I haven't really talked about it, but yeah, it's true.
Josh, that is really, really disturbing. And I don't know that,
you can't make this shit up.
And like you said, you've not necessarily had the forum, the uncensored forum to be able to talk about that. But that is huge.
Exactly.
Just the 2 instances that you've given me, and that is one, that he would come into your workspace and say, "I'm going to retire and open up an island and be a pedophile," or a pedophile island. And then the other one being, you were on the tour and in the park with him taking pictures, like you're supposed to be. and he says, check out this person's dick, this guy's dick. You're thinking it was an adult. And he then corrected and said, no, that 12-year-old right there. I mean, Josh, that's pretty fucking bad. Like, that's as bad as it gets.
Yeah. And and that's why I say, I'm seeing all these folks that are just pouring everything they have into Free Joe Exotic and pouring, money and all this stuff and tattoos and having their kids write letters. I mean, I've even seen them, people have kids write letters to Joe. And, and he's loving every bit of this and raising as much money as he can off of this.
How much money? Money has he raised? I mean, Josh, have you heard within the Tiger King circles? I know obviously he's in jail, but have you heard any amount of money that he's been able to raise? And by what means is he raising money?
I haven't heard anything, but I know that I'm sure he's got quite a bit raised. He's got a few trusted people that are on the outside. They were his supporters back in the animal world, and he's going through them, I think, to get all these GoFundMes and stuff like that taken care of.
Do you think that Jeffrey Lowe is as big of a scumbag? Like, you don't think that he's as sexually deviant as Joe Exotic is, do you? I mean, I know that Jeffrey Lowe is a swinger, and I'm not judging anybody for that, whatever. And I'm not judging anybody for your sexuality. Obviously, you're gay, and you're engaged to a man, and it's an adult deal, and you guys can do what the hell you want, But I mean, we're talking about kids with Joe Exotic. Do you think Jeffrey Lowe has done? I know you don't like him. Do you think that he's a sexual, in your opinion, a sexual deviant as well?
All I can go by is I had one incident where I had some kind of evidence of that, and Joe came in the office, and I've been on psych meds for a while, so I'm pretty familiar with all the names. And he came in and he said, "What is powdered alprazolam?" And I just looked up instantly because the alprazolam is the name for Xanax. It's the generic name for Xanax. And I looked at him and I said, "Who's got powdered Xanax and why?" He said, "Well, Jeff just texted me and asked told me he's ordering powdered alprazolam." He said, "I guess he's going to roofie some girls." And, that's the only kind of conversation we really had of deviance and any kind of evidence I've seen of deviance. Because, I mean, what would you use powdered alprazolam for other than spiking people's drinks,
Yeah, that's Bill Cosby and people like that probably. In fact, I think Blitz didn't Cosby use Xanax powder? I think he may have.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. He
doesn't really work like that.
It doesn't?
No.
Tiger King's Joe Exotic. Now, Jeff Lowe says that, and I don't know if you know this or not, Josh, but Jeff, and I don't know what to believe from Jeffrey Lowe, but he's saying that I don't know if he's got tape of it or he saw it, but that Joe Exotic may have been, having sex with the animals, so to speak. I don't know that you could have sex with a tiger, could you, Josh? I mean, I think a tiger would fucking kill you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard rumor of these videos for years. I heard rumor of the videos at first from Joe and then from Jeff. And I just kind of put it in the back of my head, and then now Jeff Lowe's coming out saying that he has the videos. I have no doubt the videos exist. I mean, I've heard too much about them over the years for them not to exist.
So when you worked as a campaign manager when you worked for the when you were there on site, was it 2 years or 3 years, Josh?
It was 2.
2 years. So when you worked with Joe Exotic as his campaign manager on the premise for 2 years, did you hear rumblings that there were, sex and animal tapes out there?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I heard was rumblings. Or anytime Jeff would get in a fight with Joe, they'd be in the office fighting. People have seen the videos by now of that kind of stuff happening. But you hear Jeff talking about it and threatening Joe with it over, from the office.
And was it Joe Exotic that was fucking tigers or just other animals?
The allegation is that it's John Finley.
Oh.
screwing animals. Yeah.
One of his husbands.
Yeah.
The one
Him,
that
yeah.
the one that had the bad teeth that now has good teeth.
Exactly.
Now, do you think that the allegations, of course, do you think this was at Joe's direction?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the allegation, is that he shot the video, or that he's featured in the video as somehow.
Now, that could possibly put Finley in jail, could it not? I mean, I guess there might be statute of limitation stuff. I mean, I don't know if there's a statute of limitations on that, but I got to think. I don't know how long ago. Well, I mean, how long ago was John and Joe together? I mean, probably less than 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, probably about 3 years ago, maybe 4. I have a hard time accepting that, just because I think that Jeff Lowe would have turned something like that over to the feds when he was working with them, because you would think definitely that someone would get a charge of animal cruelty on that.
And it said supposedly that Jeff on Reddit said that I think the weirdest thing we found were the thumb drives that show Joe and John walking around having sexual relations with some of the animals in the park.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been holding on to that stuff for a while, and I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up on, some salacious news website.
And I don't know that Netflix would even touch that. Like, they're like, we've been somewhat above board with the Tiger King deal. I think that you play that and you're in a whole different shitstorm, maybe even as the people that published it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know how you go about it. It's such a shady-ass deal, I don't know how you go about procuring something like that or distributing it, but I'm pretty confident it really does exist. I've heard too much about it from too many different people over the years for it not to exist.
What's next for you? By the way, Joshua Dial on the phone. He was the campaign manager for Joe Exotic. He's the guy that, if you watch Tiger King, when Travis committed suicide, and it's probably one of the more memorable, instances, Josh, where I actually thought when I was watching it that they actually either slowed down your reaction or they freeze framed it, because it was probably a good 15, 20 straight seconds where you could just see you trying to figure it out mentally. What the hell did I just see? Is this real? Because this is freaking me the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fake, It looked fake. He had blood coming out of his side of his head like a water gun, it was pressurized.
You even thought it was fake at first.
What's up, Blitz? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you thought it was because Travis was noted for doing ribs and fucking, doing gimmicks like that. And so you thought maybe, okay, he was got some kind of, pumping device to pump out fucking red deal here. Like, this can't really be real, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I was I know, I wasn't moving or anything, because I think I know what happened. I'm sure a subconscious part of myself knew what happened, when it happened. And I'm not a psych major, so I don't really know. I don't really know what I was thinking at the time, other than this can't be real. I mean, it just can't.
Tiger King now, it's been estimated, has been watched by 64 million households. What's next for you, Josh? I know, that you're engaged to your fiance. Do you guys have when you guys are getting married?
June of next year.
Right. And what's next for you? Are you going to be able to, turn this into something? Or, I mean, I know that, that something's hot now and it's not going to be hot then, but I think that, do you have anybody that's helping advise you as to what's next for you? What are you going to do next?
Yeah, I've got someone helping me with, my interviews and stuff and booking stuff. And, I don't know. Like I said, I live in Oklahoma, so it doesn't really cost a lot to live here. So ideally I'd like to find a gig where I can make enough to take off for a while, maybe take a few months and just kind of get unplugged from people. That's really honestly what I want. I'm not looking for anything major or any high political, job or anything, but I'm being offered plenty of them.
Are people cool to you when you're rolling around your small little area, your small little part of Oklahoma? Obviously, again, 64 million people are familiar with who you are. Have you, are people being pretty cool to you?
Yeah, like has this affected your job, your normal job?
Yeah, I mean, my normal job, I'm just a manager at a grocery store. That's
right.
my day job.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just I'm just a very simple guy. But, yeah, definitely. I have people all the time recognize me and want to take a picture with me. This Monday, I had them dispensary call me and ask if I'd come down and sign autographs for 420, and they give me a free ounce of weed if I did it.
I'd be down there in a minute, buddy.
Yeah, and then I went to the dispensary where I was smoking, because in the Netflix documentary, I'm smoking a marijuana cartridge that I choke, that vapor I choke on. I went to the dispensary that I got that from and told them it was their cartridge I used on air, and they gave me some free cartridges. So,
nice.
There's some advantage to it here and there.
Now, has there been any women, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to your fiance, so don't think that, but has there, not everybody probably knows your sexuality, and has there been women that have come on to you, be like, oh my God, you're a big time Netflix star now. I want to blow you.
Not one woman. Not one woman.
Not
Only
one woman.
Dudes. No.
I mean, that's good. That's good for you though, because that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been a libertarian, or how long have you known that you've been libertarian? Because for a while you were a Democrat working for them, right?
Sure. I mean, I'd like to think we're all libertarians. I mean, who wants a bigger government and a more intrusive government and higher taxes? Who really wants that at the end of the day?
And I agree.
Yeah, we agree. Hey, we're the kind of Josh. Here's the kind of people we are. I think that you should be able to smoke a joint while you're taking your girlfriend to the abortion clinic with your handgun.
Sure. As long as you're not hurting someone else or taking their stuff.
Exactly.
And that's all the libertarians believe, I mean, don't hurt people, don't take their stuff.
How did you...
So I've been a libertarian, I'd say, all my life, but a registered libertarian, I've only been in the party for a couple of years.
How'd you, find out or decide to change to libertarian?
Well, I met my first libertarian when I was in college in 2008. And we'd have debates all the time because I was still pretty big liberal back then. He kind of brought me most of the way to libertarianism. But, meeting all the people in the party and, especially after Travis died, all the big candidates, they came down, all the head of the executive committee, they all came to the funeral. They're really supportive. So just by them showing me their true colors, which turned out to be good, I ended up joining them.
Now, as much as we talk about, you feel that Jeffrey Lowe, speaking about the having sex with animals, Joe Exotic and his husband John, there might be some footage of them walking around having sex with animals. That you think that possibly, well, you heard about it and you've not seen the footage, but you think that it possibly exists. Do you think that Netflix or all the hundreds of thousands of hours of of footage that they have, do you think that there's any whisper or any instance of where Joe may have talked about this pedophilia stuff that he might be into?
No, I don't think there is, and that's another reason why it was so lowbrow and very shady that he would even say something like that, is because he would only say that in front of the other gay guys. There were, besides myself, there was one other gay guy working there, and he also worked in the office. And he would say it in front of him and myself, and that was it. He wouldn't say it in front of anybody else.
Do you think John Finley was gay or is gay?
No.
Okay,
I think he just taken advantage of a situation where he could stand to gain money, exotic animals, drugs, and
meth. I mean, they intimated, and I think you did too the last time we spoke, that
Yeah.
it was that the Joe Exotic and this zoo was just an absolute meth factory, and a lot of people took meth, and Joe plied people with meth.
Yeah, well, not only meth though. I'm not going to name his name, but there is a worker about a month or two before Joe fled, a guy that works at the zoo still to this day, and he was missing a bunch of teeth and had a real nasty meth mouth, black teeth and shit. What teeth he had left were black. Good-looking guy. He was a decent-looking guy, and he was young, but besides that, it was just his teeth. Joe ended up talking him into sleeping with him for a whole week, and in exchange, Joe fixed his teeth to some $5,000. So I've seen Joe's just a master manipulator.
Is he just a fuck? I mean, is he he sounds like a predator. Like he just absolutely is a fucking predator.
Because the rumor was that Travis probably wasn't gay and John Finley wasn't gay, that they were both sleeping, or especially John Finley was sleeping with other women at the park there. And I believe now he's married to a woman.
And that it was all a big, fuck me, and whether you're gay or not, we're gonna fuck, and here's all the meth you want, or here's some meth that you want.
Yes. Or here's some money, or here's some drugs, or here's some opportunity that you didn't have before.
Right.
If John Finley
four-wheelers.
Four-wheelers, yeah. If we couldn't, obviously Travis can't, testify, but if John was to be honest, do you think that that Joe may have talked about the pedophilia thing to John?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I think that's probably something that came up, and I know that's explosive, but fuck.
Hey, listen, Josh, it is explosive, but if you heard it, you heard it, and it's people can't change what you heard, and people can't. It is explosive, but if you heard it and you're the one that's saying it, then I mean, who are we? You've not lied about anything else. Everything else that you've said's checked out.
Right. That's what I was about to say. From the beginning, all I have done on this thing is told the truth, and it's garnered me a lot of comments and a lot of hate and a lot of love. A lot of people love me because they think I'm standing up for Joe, and then a lot of people hate me because they don't think I'm standing up for Joe, and then a lot of people and then some people just respect me. They have some respect for me because they can see that I'm telling the truth. I don't have anything to gain. I'm not being paid to be on this show and say anything salacious. I'm just telling the truth. And I think the people that are getting his name permanently tattooed on his body deserve to know the truth about him. Careful who you tattoo on your body.
Well, especially with what you said, that the explosive fact that you just said. And let me just say this, Josh. I'm a pretty stiff interviewer, and I didn't know how you would come across the first time I had you on there. I watched the series. You seem like a pretty believable guy. I know that you saw some shit with Travis and what have you. And then after I had you on, I told my producers and stuff, I said, that guy comes across real well. He comes across very believable. And so that's why we have Interview 2 is because, I'm not paying you, and you just seem like out of all the fuckery and and I don't mean you to take this the wrong way, but of all the fucking characters, you seem like the most honest, above board dude of all of them.
Yeah. I'd say probably the only other person that was similar to me, as in they had their eyes open. They weren't part of the cult. They were, they saw everything that went on and took note of it, would be me and John Rinke. But I don't think John Rinke's really doing much interaction with the public.
Who's John? Which one's John Rinke?
The one without the legs, with the fake legs.
Dirt car driver.
Right. Okay. Yeah, the guy. That has dirt track deal.
He was the manager of the zoo, but I mean, he was, he was deep into, they were always, doing shady shit, and I think he kind of knew what was going on too, and I think he kind of stayed for the animals,
Now, do you think, Joshua? Do you think that there could be some children or some boys that Joe might have done stuff with? Or, or do you just think that he was just a sick fuck that, that maybe fantasized about that? Like, if just strictly your opinion,
And only my opinion, I think he was just sick. I definitely don't want to. I mean, I have no hearsay, no allegations, no nothing to go by. So I just say he was sick.
And so and this is under the guise. Let's understand what we spoke about that under, and we were talking about. There's been a bunch of people that tattoo Joe Exotic on their body and what have you, and they think that Joe's a fucking star and that he's the man and that he's innocent and that he was set up. And you do say that yes, he was set up, but by the same token, you say be careful on how you idolize this guy because you know this guy firsthand, and he said some real fucked up shit to you, like for instance, sizing up little boys' penis. And be careful who the fuck you tattoo to your body because that's what he told you at one time, and who would want that?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just fucking insane, But I just hope that more people come out and tell the truth. Like so many people are tinged. Like I think maybe if Saf would come forward, but Saf wasn't always the most trustable person. That was the one that got his arm ripped off by the tiger. I think he has some insight, but no one's talking. No one's talking about it really.
Who were you closest with, Joshua, when you worked there? Would it have been Saf?
It would have probably been Saf of all the cast. Yeah.
Right.
Do you still talk
to any of them?
No. I've got a couple of friends that I lived with because we all roomed together in a trailer.
Right.
And I've got a couple of friends, that were my roommates, and I'm talking to them pretty regularly. But no, besides that, I don't talk to anybody from that time period.
Now, Joshua, we were able to kind of dive in and talk about Joe and maybe possibly the pedophilia with the uncensored format here. Is there anything else that happened on the Tiger King that maybe wasn't portrayed in Netflix or the TMZ special that you could tell us here now?
I can't think of anything else that hasn't really already been out there. But I would not be surprised if more people came forward with even more salacious stories, even more outrageous claims, or whatever you want to say. But yeah, stuff like the animals and the USB drives with Joe having sex with the animals and shit. That probably exists, people. That probably exists. I would be willing to bet some of money that exists.
What about Carol Baskin? Do you think that Carol Baskin is flipping the fuck out right now? Because, obviously she didn't think it was going to go this way. I think they kind of bamboozled her a little bit. I don't have a problem with it. They kind of bamboozled her a little bit, and it kind of ended up being, as well as I do, that they shoot X and then you end up watching Y and Z and you're like, what the fuck? They got very creative when they edited that. And obviously they did that to Carol somewhat. Now, do you think that she's flipping the fuck out right now? Because I think that there might be some shit going down on her.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always, I guess this is what people like about me, but I want to kind of step back from that for a second. Because what if she didn't kill her husband? I mean, I can't be famous for, being objective on Joe and not be objective on Carol.
Right.
So what if she didn't kill her husband? I mean, how would we feel if our spouse disappeared 20 years ago and, 20 years later, Netflix makes a documentary alleging that we killed him?
I mean, we do know he's known for picking up random 17-year-olds walking down the street at night.
Yeah, I mean, like Carol
and giving them a gun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Carol tries to, and this is strictly my opinion, Joshua, because you know how litigious she is. And so this is my opinion. This is your opinion. This is strictly our opinion based on you being in the Netflix deal and me watching it. But, Carol, isn't nearly as clean as the wind-driven snow as she tries to portray herself as. I mean, she was a 17-year-old. We live in Tampa, and Nebraska Avenue, Blitz, let's just be, factual. Nebraska Avenue is where the hookers go.
That is correct.
And she's walking down Nebraska Avenue and gets picked up by an older man, and she's 17. I mean, that's not necessarily the most pristine circumstances.
Well, and the rumor is,
Right.
she says anyway, that he handed her a gun. Well, I mean, if he's done it before, you hand the wrong person a gun, you might get shot.
Right. So, I mean, if anything, I agree with you, Josh. And what if let's say that she didn't do that and everything, and she's not going to obviously appreciate everybody pontificating. But indeed, I think that they need to relook at it because I don't know that they knew all the facts, and I don't know how thoroughly it was investigated back then. And it's now being under the microscope more than ever. So indeed, if she didn't do it, I think justice will prevail. But if she did do it, I think they'll find it out. I do. I think enough people have seen that now. I think enough people have seen that, and this has become a pop cultural phenomenon that if she did, she could get on the hook for it.
I agree. There's, even though I just said, let's step back for a second, at the same time, I have my opinion. And I mean, come on, they had Nancy fucking Grace on the TMZ special on national television say that she killed her husband.
Nancy fucking Grace, man, that old battle axe.
If Nancy Grace said it, it must be true.
Yeah, actually, if Nancy Grace said it, I'd go the complete opposite of that bitch, to be honest with you.
Right? Usually.
Yeah.
But, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed if I was Carol Baskin. But at the same time, if she really did it, she ought to be scared because DNA evidence, they have trace evidence and stuff like that they do that they didn't even dream of 20 years ago.
Well, now, Josh, I mean, if she did do it, we're just speculating, fucking, pontificating rainbow dreams that she did do it. Now the feds and the local sheriff and what have you are feeling stupid because she may have got away with it, and that's on their tab. So they're really gonna, they're gonna look into this thing quite extensively.
Yeah, and I think it behooves people like entities like Netflix and the directors for something to happen, because should Carol Baskin be indicted for the disappearance of her husband, it would just it would be insane.
Oh, it would be the fucking absolute cherry on top of this. It would only validate this documentary even more. That because of this documentary, it found it would have brought a person to justice. It will blow fucking Netflix up, will it not?
Yeah. It would. I saw some insane numbers, some millions of new subscribers they had just last month.
15 million. 15 million.
Insane.
At what? Blitz, is it $17.99, $12.99? What is it?
I think it's 14 or something like that.
14, 15 bucks. Blitz, what's 15 times 15? 300? Yeah. So if you did 15 million people at $15, isn't that $300 million? I mean, I'm stupid as fuck, but I think that's the math, I think.
It's something stupid, that's for sure.
Well, listen, Josh, we'd love to have you on from time to time as you're promoting various things. Are you promoting your GoFundMe still, or your Cameo? What are you promoting now, Josh?
I'm just working on my Cameo right now. I feel like I've raised enough money. I've got that money set aside on a separate account because I still don't have health insurance. It's gonna kill me.
You said you wanted to make enough money to get away. Let's assume you made some money. Where would you go?
I'd like to go to Mexico, I think.
What if we got you a VIP? Vegas. What if we got you a VIP tour for Big Cat Rescue?
Come down to
I
Tampa
don't know that
when
I
they-
would go.
Come down to Tampa. Joshua Dial
Yeah, when,
comes
the,
to
when they
Tampa.
open the beaches back up, you can hang out at the beach.
Yeah, you and your husband or you and your man can come to the beach and you go to the Big Cat. Carol fucking Baskin would shit a brick if you walked up in there.
I don't know. No, I couldn't do it. I would never walk out of there alive.
No. Mexico, huh? Maybe you and your guy
You wouldn't
go
be
to
the first one.
Yeah, you're not. Hey, ask her husband. That motherfucker didn't either. Now, Josh, you did see these tigers for a couple years. If you got fed to the tigers, I mean, those motherfuckers would just tear you to shreds, would they not?
You know, kind of like she said, I imagine you'd have to douse someone in something, which is, you know, because tigers don't just like eat you, you know, like even when you put their food out, they'll just nibble at it, you know, take a bite, walk away, and fucking come back an hour later and take another bite. So I imagine getting fed to a tiger would be very painful.
How about that time that the one tiger was biting Joe's foot? Did they put something on his foot? Like, what happened there?
No, it just started gnawing on his foot, you know, kind of like a house cat will sometimes gnaw on you, or maybe a dog will gnaw on you a little bit and just lightly put its teeth on you. And that's what they would do sometimes. They would walk up there and start gnawing on him. And he'd take that little cane, that long cane that he had on his right arm, and he'd kind of hit him on the nose and shit with it.
Now, how did was it Seth? What's the person?
Saf.
How did that go down? Like, because you know they're usually not. They usually don't attack. What happened to there?
Yeah, you know, he was putting his arm in the cage, and it got caught, you know, on the fence. And I don't know what went wrong, honestly, because that tiger, I believe, is still alive. I don't think they had them kill that tiger, because I think Saf claimed that it was his fault, you know. Took all the blame for it in an attempt to save the tiger. So I don't really know, other than, you know, you're dealing with animals.
Oh, Carol Baskin got him.
You there? Josh, you there? That or the tiger bit his fucking phone off. Well, if he calls back, we'll do him. If not,
Okay.
But I think we got a good revelation in the fact that I don't know that he's talked about
The whole Joe deal.
Well, I don't know that he's talked about
Pedophile Island.
Yeah, Pedophile
Yeah.
Island. We need to get that out immediately. That's a good fucking. He said that he never spoke about it because he never had the forum to. That is something.
That's deep.
How fucking sick is that? But I'm telling you right now, if you and I were hanging out and we did, you know, we knew a guy was gay or whatever, fuck, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, but then he, you know, he says, "Hey, Blitz, Bubba, look at that fucking cock on this guy," and we're looking, you know, we're not necessarily looking for cock, but maybe 25 was walking down the road or something. We're like, where? And then it was a kid. I got it. This is Josh. Blitz, I might get your gun and put a fucking bullet in his head.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry.
Carol Baskin get you?
Shit, I was just talking fucking away, just fucking spilling my soul.
Oh,
to
yeah,
an
we
empty
probably
room.
got the best fucking exclusive ever, and you fucking fucked it all up. Tiger got your arm, bitch.
But no, well, yeah, fuck. What I was saying is, I mean, what do you expect? You're dealing with wild fucking animals.
Yeah, like remember when that Siegfried and Royd motherfucker got bit, and we're like, what do you expect? Wild tigers bite, bitch.
Yeah, it's a fucking tiger.
Now,
It's a predator. What do you think it's gonna do?
Did you ever get in? Like, how close, Josh, did you get? Like, did you ever go inside the cage, or were you like, listen, I'm the fucking campaign manager. I ain't going up in that bitch.
Well, yeah, no, towards the end, because when the winter months came, he always got rid of people. And the last winter I worked for him, he cut his entire photography and videography staff. So I had to pick up a camera and do photography and videography. So we would go into the cages. Like, he'd have me come into the cage and video, you know, stuff.
Did you ever get a pet? Did you ever get a pet him? Like, did you ever get a pet him?
Yeah. I only ever pet them though, when he had them put to sleep, you know, not killed them, but he had them, you know,
Darted.
actually put to sleep so he can move. Yeah, tranked. And you know, he tranquilized them, and then once they were under, I would go up and pet them, but that's as close as I cared to get.
I've petted tigers and lions before.
For real?
Yeah, one of the guys in the movie, Vernon Yates, has his deal here. I've been in the cages with him.
Are they just so powerful and so impressive?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. But I mean, like, and they didn't do anything. They didn't move. But I was so scared. I was like, man, this thing's just going to bite my head off at any moment.
This guy, I mean,
But
literally,
I still did it.
I care how many fucking guns you got out strapped on you. That motherfucker will take a lick on you.
Oh yeah, they're quick too.
Yeah, they're quick. Are they, Joshua? Are they quick as fuck? And they can jump like fucking, not Michael Jordan.
Yeah, if they wanted to do something, there's nothing really you could do.
Right.
No, there's nothing you can do. They're quick. They're quick. I mean, you think a house cat's quick. I mean, that's the only thing I can compare it to. Just take your fucking, average hyped up house cat and fucking, grow it into a fucking
size of a donkey, and that's what the fuck you got right there.
Yeah.
Now, how close was Joe? Was Joe not afraid of him? Would he just roll up in there, no big deal?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't. The biggest thing he was afraid of, like, because he would go, like, I didn't always go in the cages. Like, most of the time, I would be right at the cage, and I would just stick my camera lens through the chain link fence.
Right.
And most of the time, we do that during park hours while the park was open. And the thing he was scared the most about was the fact that he couldn't, like, hit the tigers because there were people. Like, he would be very, very conscious of who was watching or if any customers were in the park watching, because he wanted the opportunity to be able to hit them if they were acting up. Like I said,
if you need to save yourself.
Well, I mean, to show dominance so that they would know that, not to fuck with him for the most part.
Yeah, because, I mean, he wanted to go in there being rough with them. So, he kind of corralled them into doing what he wanted.
So, Josh, outside of what's your Cameo address, my friend, for people to be able to? And I got one, and Josh promised me, because I know that you made you did like $15,000 on your GoFundMe, and be fucking smart with that money, buddy. You're talking to a guy. I made a lot of money, and I wasn't smart with it, and I wish somebody would have sat me down. Well, they tried. But just be fucking smart with it. You're obviously a manager, a grocery store manager, so I'm assuming that you're pretty responsible. But you got a little bonus here, so be smart with it.
Yeah, and I definitely have. Like I said, it's all sitting in the bank still.
Good.
It's kind of hard to go do a normal job making $15, $20 an hour when you got such a large sum in the bank. But I've just been trying to act like normal. I'm still a thrifty shopper. I still buy stuff on sale.
And make sure you go take your trip to Mexico too. Like, don't go crazy, but treat yourself a little bit.
I mean, thinking $1,500, $2,500, you and your husband, or your soon-to-be husband could, if you do it right, could have a pretty good time.
Yeah, I mean, the temptation is definitely there.
Because that'll be good. That'll be good for your mental health anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be being able to party a little bit, fucking get crazy with your man. I mean, that you probably need a little stress reliever getaway kind of deal. I
agree, but these cameos, I'm not even spending all the money I got for my cameos. I'm really trying to save up and
good. Save the fuck. Save, motherfucker. Save, Josh. Save.
But these fucking cameos, you can find me on Cameo. Just type Joshua. What you can just do is type Tiger King in Cameo, and it'll pull all the cast up, and I'll be on there.
Fuck that. That's just let's go right to Josh Dial. Don't.
Yeah, not Jeff Lowe.
Don't be cameoing with dumbass Jeff Lowe. Fuck him. Go right to Josh Dial. Fuck Jeff Lowe. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's a fun deal. It's fun. When you feel good about yourself, or you want to feel good about yourself, I should say, just open a Cameo up. It's been real helpful, but mostly, the cash has really been helpful.
Hey, I have a brand. My brand is called Bubba Army. And if I sent you a Bubba Army shirt, would you wear it?
Yeah.
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 So Blitz, we'll get Josh's mailing address. And what do you got? 2X, Josh? What's your husband, fiance?
We're both extra large.
Oh, I like that too. All of his cameos are done in front of a Gadsden pride flag.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Doc Antel's on there for like $299.
Yeah, and you get a couple of whores with her, a couple of fucking, sex slaves.
It's crazy. You know, like some people are on there.
One of these days, it's going to be Doc Antle, made these chicks fucking do some shit that they didn't want to do. That's probably the next thing that might be coming out.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I've said all along that Doc Antel's one that I would keep an eye on as well, for sure.
Maybe him and Carol Baskin can have a threesome with one of those hotties that he's got. Hey, Josh, I'm going to put you on hold and get your address so I can get you some swag out to you, buddy. And let's, every 2-3 weeks, shoot the shit a little bit, promote your Cameo, see what the fuck you're doing, and keep in touch.
Alrighty.
Josh, I'm going to put you on hold so I got your info, okay, kiddo?
Okay.
Thank you, Josh.
The Bubba Radio Network will return after this.